3 or 4 slides. Okay? So remember that the brainstem is composed of the midbrain, and you saw most of it just a few minutes ago. The pons and the medulla oblongata. Okay? So here we have the pons, and the pons, in the center of the pons, the median line, you have the basilar artery, which is made by the junction of the two vertebral arteries. Okay? So what do we have on the side of the pons? What are these structures? They are the trigeminal nerve, and remember that the trigeminal nerve has will extend from the midbrain towards the spinal cord, and at what level of the spinal cord does it stop? At what level of the spinal cord is the trigeminal root finishing, trigeminal nucleus finishing. So you have the mesencephalic nucleus, you have the main nucleus, main motor nucleus at the level of the pons, and you have a spinal nucleus, and the spinal nucleus will finish at the level of C2. Okay? So C2 is the level of the ending of the spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. Okay? So you have the trigeminal nerve, if you remember, the main component is the sensory one for the innervation of the face, and you have a smaller motor component. Okay? So here we have the trigeminal nerve. Here what do we have? We have the ocular motor nerve. Okay? And here what is the structure? Here, internal carotid artery. Okay. So if we continue, what do we have here? We have the middle cerebellar peduncle. Okay. And if we go lower, we have the medulla oblongata. And remember that the medulla oblongata, close to the midline, you have the pyramid, and laterally, you have the olive. Okay? So the pyramids are made of what they correspond to the pyramidal tract. And remember that the pyramidal tract is made of the axon coming from the neurons arising from the area, mainly from the area 4 of the cortex. Okay? But also from the area 2, 3, and one from the post-central gyrus, and all this axon will pass through the internal capsule. Okay, after passing through the corona radiata, internal capsule, they will go into the cerebral peduncle in the middle 3/3 of the cerebral peduncle. Okay. And they will go inside, they will go in the pons, where they will be broken by the fibers of the cortico-cerebellar tract, okay? And they will arrive in the upper part of the medulla oblongata, and at the lower part of the medulla oblongata, 90% of this tract will decussate on the line, on the side, if you want, and it will be the great motor decussation. And it will form the lateral corticospinal tract. Okay, so lateral corticospinal tract made by 90% of the fibers which are crossing midline. 10% of the fibers are crossing midline at this level of the medulla oblongata, but will cross midline at the level of the spinal cord at a lower level. Okay? So, for the pyramid, now for the olive, you know that the olive corresponds to the olivary, inferior olivary nuclei, okay? And we will see a little bit later the connection of the inferior olivary nucleus when we will see the cerebellum, okay? So now for the cranial nerve. So it really depends on the specimens. So this one actually remember that between the olive, what is a nerve passing between the olive and the pyramid? You have the hypoglossal nerve. So between the pyramid and the olive, okay? So you see you have some little rootlets coming from the hypoglossal nerve, okay? Let me try to see if we can. Here, if you have 6 and 7. Okay, so here we have 6, for example, 6, which is the abscess. Okay? Okay? So now if we look on the other side, and so this specimen is a little bit, it's not in a best shape, but at least. So here you can recognize the superior colliculi, okay? Here we have the inferior colliculi. Here you will have the fourth ventricle, and here you have the floor of the fourth ventricle, okay? And in the floor of the fourth ventricle, so you have what do you have at this level? You have the facial colliculus, and remember the facial colliculus is made by the fibers of the facial nerve winding around the abducens. Okay? So you have the facial colliculus at this level. Okay? You will have the vestibular area more laterally. Okay? So if we go at the medulla oblongata level, what do you have at this level? What is the name of this level? Now, just a little bit here. It's the hypoglossal triangle, okay? If we go a little bit laterally, you will have the vagal triangle corresponding to the nucleus ambiguus, okay? Here the hypoglossal triangle corresponds to the nucleus of the hypoglossal nerve, okay? And it's the same thing as above, you will have the vestibular area, okay? So here is what we have at this level, and here you will have the middle cerebellar peduncle. If we look on sagittal section, so actually this one is not bit. So it's the same thing. You remember we have the fourth ventricle here, okay? And so here we have the locus ceruleus, which is the area where you can find numerous noradrenergic cells, okay, projecting more or less everywhere. And so here you will have the superior and inferior follicles. And here you have the cerebellum. Here you have the midbrain with the substantia nigra, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. On this sample, so you find the same thing. So it's a section at the level of the pons, more or less, and you have the basilar artery at this level, and you will have the corticocerebellar fiber going on the other side, crossing midline to finish in the cerebellum. Okay? So now for the cerebellum, so remember that the cerebellum is involved in the equilibrium and the control of movement, and also in planning the movement. Okay? So cerebellum is divided into an anterior lobe and a posterior lobe, and you have an anterior fissure and an horizontal fissure. Okay? The cerebellum, as you know, has a vermis, okay, and two cerebellar hemispheres. Okay, so one vermis and two cerebellar hemispheres. If we look on the sagittal section again, maybe actually that one. So it's the sagittal section of the cerebellum. Okay. So you retrieve the pediculi at this level. Here you have the cerebral abduct. Okay. Here you will have the fourth ventricle, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. Okay. So and the cerebellum will be, you remember, so the cortex is localized at the periphery, and the white matter is inside here. So it's like in the brain cortex of the brain. So you have different elements. So here you will have the lingula. Okay. Here you will have the culmen between the lingula and the anterior fissure. After you will have the declive. After you will have the pyramid at this level. After the pyramid, you have the uvula, and here, a little bit better on another specimen actually, and here you have the nodule. Okay? Nodule. Okay? So if we go back now, so it's okay for this disposition. So lingula, culmen, declive, uvula, tuber, uvula, and nodule. Okay? If we go back to this, on this view, here we will have, so we said that you have the vermis here, and the cerebellar hemisphere on the laterally. And so we have, look at the other side actually to be better. Here you have the tuber, here you have the pyramid, here you have the uvula, and here you have the nodule. Okay? So, as we said, tuber, pyramid, uvula, nodule, and here you can find the lingula. The lingula will be here. So, on the side, you will have the tonsils here, the tonsils are here, and here you will have the flocculus. Okay? The tonsils are here, and here you have the flocculus. Okay? And here, what is cut here is the middle cerebellar peduncle. Okay, the middle cerebellar peduncle cut here. So you will have a flocculonodular lobe, okay, and we will see a little bit later. We can do it now. What is the meaning of it? So the flocculonodular lobe is involved in the equilibrium and is more or less related to the vestibular nuclei, okay? And the vermis, if we look at the cortex now, you have different parts. So we said you have the vermis. So the medial part of the vermis is in charge of the control of the movement of the muscle of the axis. Okay? For example, the neck or the thorax. Okay? Laterally, a little bit laterally to the vermis, it will be in charge of the control of the muscles of the limb, for example, hands and feet. And totally laterally, it will be involved in the planning of the movement and also in the control of the error that the movement can have been, the error that can be made. Okay? So the vermis itself is in charge of the control of the movement of the axis. Okay? That's the muscle of the trunk or the chest. Okay? Paravermal area is in charge of the control of the movement of the muscles of the limb, okay? And the lateral part of the cortex is in charge of the initiation of the movement, processing of the movement, and also to correct the error, okay? And so this is for the cortex, and remember the flocculonodular lobe. So flocculonodular lobe is in charge of the equilibrium. Okay? So how many you have? Remember, you have three peduncles. You have the superior cerebellar peduncle, which is connecting the cerebellum to the midbrain. You have the middle cerebellar peduncle, which is connecting the pons to the cerebellum. And you have the inferior cerebellar peduncle, which is connecting the cerebellum to the medulla oblongata. Okay? So if we look a little bit at the evolution, if you want, you have different kinds of cerebellum. You have the archicerebellum. The archicerebellum is present only in fish and lower amphibians. Okay. The paleocerebellum is present only in superior amphibians, reptiles, and birds. And finally, you have the neocerebellum present in mammalians and humans. Okay. So to this distinction between archicerebellum, paleocerebellum, and neocerebellum corresponds a functional distinction with three types, corresponding types, which are vestibulocerebellum, which has some projection with the vestibular nuclei, okay, and corresponding to the archaeocerebellum. Spinocerebellum, with a projection connection with the spinal cord, and corresponding to the paleocerebellum. And finally, which one? Doesn't matter. Corresponding to the neocerebellum and is in connection with the cortex. Okay? So now, what are the afferents of the cerebellum? You will have some afferents from the vestibular nuclei. Okay? you will have some afferents from the spinal cord, and you will have some afferents from the cortex. Okay? So the afferents from the vestibular nuclei will go through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. The afferents from the spinal cord will be shared between the anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tract. Okay, the anterior spinocerebellar tract will pass through the superior cerebellar peduncle and is crossing the midline, while the posterior spinocerebellar tract will stay on the same side and will go through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay, and for the cortical afferents, you will have some. First, you have this cortico-pontocerebellar pathway. Cortico-pontocerebellar pathway. The fibers going from the cortex, projecting on the pontine nuclei, and from the pontine nuclei, the axons are crossing midline and finishing, passing by the middle cerebellar peduncle and finishing on the cerebellum. Okay? I didn't tell you the spinocerebellar tracts are both finishing as Mossy fibers. Okay, remember the Mossy fibers. So back to the cortical afferents, you have the cortico-pontocerebellar pathway. We have the cortico-olivary cerebellar pathway, where the afferents are coming from the cortex, projected on the inferior olivary nucleus, and from the inferior olivary nucleus, the fibers can, usually you have bilateral projection on the cerebellum. Okay? And the fibers from the inferior olivary nucleus are climbing fibers. Okay? So they will go to the Purkinje cells and they will stimulate the Purkinje cells, knowing that one Purkinje cell will make contact with only one climbing fibers, but one climbing fibers can make contact, synapse, with several Purkinje cells. Okay? And finally, you have one cortico-reticular reticulocerebellar pathway. Okay? What are the efferents? The efferents are from the globose and emboliform nucleus to the red nucleus. Okay? So that fiber will cross midline. Okay? At the level of passing through the superior cerebellar peduncle, so they cross midline, and there will be another decusation, which is decusation of the rubrospinal tract. So it can control the movement on the same side. Okay. So first, we have this emboliform or interposed rubrospinal pathway. The second one is the dentato or danto thalamo cortico-spinal pathway. So the fibers are going from the dentate nucleus, going through the superior cerebellar peduncle, finishing on the ventral lateral nucleus of the thalamus. From there, the fibers are going to the cortex. From the cortex, they will go through the corticospinal tract and coming on the same side again. And so you will have control of the movement on the same side. And finally, you have the fibers coming from the fastigial nucleus, and you have two pathways. You have the fastigial vestibular pathway. Okay? Yeah, I mean, at the end, the fibers are coming on the same side, from their originating. Okay? Because they cross after passing the superior cerebellar peduncle, so they cross to the midline to the superior, to the thalamus. Okay? From the thalamus, they go to the cortex, and from the cortex, they will go to the corticospinal tract, and they will cross the midline again. Okay? So it's a double process. Okay? So it will influence the movement on the same side. Okay? And so for the fastigial nucleus, you have two pathways, a fastigial vestibular pathway and a fastigial reticular pathway. And in both cases, the fibers are going through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay? So, are we good with cerebellum? Yeah? Sit louder. The fastigial vestibular pathway and the fastigial reticular pathway. Okay? And both of them are going through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay? They are the fibers from the fastigial nucleus are the only one going through the inferior cerebellar peduncle as efferents. Okay? Okay, so we are so just can you try to connect? So I will show you a few slides because some of you did not get the ISO at some point, and you know that you can have some slides for the spotters also. Yeah. Fastigio-reticular and fastigio-vestibular. So you remember that you have two types of cortex, and it's sometimes difficult to recognize the cortex. So you have some agranular cortex, which is made mainly of pyramidal cells, and you have granular cortex, which is made mainly of granular cells, where you can find fewer pyramidal cells. Okay? So quickly,